splash screens. They're a form of copyright that are placed within at the beginning of every game. They're the first thing the player sees, and they're used as a form of protection to prevent people from stealing your game. So obviously in in our visual novel Unity project, we would obviously want something like that to to protect our game. What is going on, everyone? Mega here with a brand new Unity tutorial, and as I just mentioned in that brief little intro that I just did, today we're going to be covering splash screens. Now, before recording this video, I actually went ahead and updated our main menu a bit. I replaced all of our buttons here with Text Mesh Pro buttons. The reason is because eventually the regular text object is going to be completely replaced by Text Mesh Pros. And the whole reason I showed you the regular text object is so you can have a comparison. And I didn't want to have to go through and like show you the same exact process of like doing Text Mesh Pro, because it's exactly the same thing as doing a regular text object. So let's go in and I can show you the buttons. And actually, this was a test that I was doing, so let me just delete this. Okay. And so inside our main menu here, you see we have a whole bunch of buttons here, right here. So let's go into one of the text objects of the button, and you can see we have a whole bunch of new options with Text Mesh Pro. I went ahead and set the font size to 40 because that's the size that I always like to use for buttons. And you can see I right here I use the default font for Text Mesh Pro. And actually it looks like I'm a little cut off here, but that's fine. I'll fix that in the next video. All right. And we have some other options down here. And you can change the color of the face if you wanted to. You can change an outline. You can create an underlay. You can debug. But yeah, you have a lot more options here versus the regular text object. Okay, so what we're gonna do is that now we're gonna create a splash screen. So to do that, first off, we need to go to our scenes, and then we're gonna need to right click. No, actually, instead of creating a new scene, I'm just gonna duplicate this scene so that I don't have to remake everything again. So Control duplicate, and I'm gonna rename this to splash screen. And so let's open it up. And so let's go ahead and delete these buttons because we don't need them. Okay. And let's also go into the image, and let's change the image to an image that I imported. You could use whatever image that you want, but this is just like a thumbnail that I still had from a previous video. So I'm just gonna drag and drop it into here. And we have our splash screen. And yeah, this is actually the thumbnail I used for the previous video. Okay, and so now that we have, this is actually going to be our splash screen. But in order to make it work, we need to actually create a C# script. But before that, let's go over here and let's create an empty game object. And we're gonna, oh, actually I already created it. Oh, okay. So let's go ahead and create an empty game object, and I'm gonna rename my game object to splash screen. But you can name it whatever you want. And I need to delete this script because this was from a previous test. Okay. So now I have my splash screen object, and I always like to place my objects at the top of the screen. So now I'm gonna go into my hierarchy, go to scripts, delete this because I don't need this anymore. Okay, and so now I'm going to create a new C# script, and I'm going to call this scene changer. And let's open it up. And then we drag it over because you can't see it right now. Okay, and so creating this script is actually going to be extremely simple. We're just going to, first off, we're going to delete these methods because we don't need them. We're going to create a new namespace called using Unity Engine .scene management. And then we're going to, inside our class, we're going to create a static variable. So public static int scene number. The reason we need this variable is because we need to keep track of the we need a way to signal which scene we want to jump to. So next we're gonna need an I enumerator. So I'm gonna call it to main menu. So I enumerator to main menu. Okay, and so we're gonna what we're gonna do is we're gonna yield return new wait for seconds. So when this coroutine is called, it's gonna first thing it's gonna do is it's gonna wait 5 seconds, and then we're gonna change the scene number to 1. And then we're gonna go back into Unity, back to our scenes, and we're gonna go to File, Build Settings, and we're gonna drag and drop our newly created scene to our build settings, and make sure if you don't have anything, then just click on Add Open Scenes. But if you already have your main menu in your build settings, just make sure the splash screen is above your main menu. So now our splash screen is set at the index of 0, and our main menu is set at the index of 1. So what this is going to do is that when the game is loaded, when the program has started, it's gonna load the splash screen first. Okay, and now let's go back to our code, and then we're gonna do scene manager dot load scene 1, and so now we've created our coroutine that we needed. So now, okay, so now we have our I enumerator, but before we get started with it, I realized I made a little mistake here. We can't just have our function like this without inside another function. We need this to be done right at start. So start, and then we're gonna cut this in here. Let's create some spaces. Then if scene number, there we go. And we're gonna start the coroutine. Start coroutine to main menu. And that's pretty much it. That's all that's all we need. So now we can save it. And now let's go back to Unity, and then we're gonna go to our scripts. and we're gonna go to our splash screen, and we're gonna drag and drop it onto the splash screen. And so now, let's just make sure everything's correct. It's our splash screen is at index 0, so once it's on index 0, it's gonna wait 5 seconds, and then it's gonna go to our next scene. So let's run it. It'll take 5 seconds. And then it went to our main menu. Perfect. Now, as you can see, it looked a little weird. It didn't look nice or anything. So to do that, what we're gonna do we're gonna create a simple animation to fix that. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna go to we're gonna go to our object. We're gonna add a component. We're gonna go animation, animator actually. And so now it's gonna ask for an animator controller. So what we need to do is go over here, and we're gonna create an animator controller. And I'm gonna call this fade. And so let's go back to our splash screen, and let's drag and drop the animator controller onto that. And so now let's go to the animator, and as you can see, we have some states for us to work with, but we're not going to work with these specifically just yet. Let's go back to our scene, and we're gonna right click over here, and we're gonna create a UI image, and we're gonna go over here, and let's select this our resize tool, and change all of this to 0. So it's completely covering our panel. And then let's go to our color, and let's make it completely black. So now it's completely covering it. And so the reason why we're doing this is because if we go to our alpha and we bring this down, you can see that it slowly fades in. This is what we're going to recreate via animation. So to do this, all we need to do is right click and go to create animation, and we're going to call this fade in. And so let's open it up. And so what we're going to do is that with our scene, with it in our scene, we're going to press the record button. Oh, actually, we need to select what object that we're going to do. We're going to use it on. We're going to use it on our image. We're going to create an animation, and I'm going to create a new folder called animations. Go into here and do fade in. Okay, and so we're gonna press the record button, and so I'm gonna scroll down all the way down to a minute and a half, so that that's how long it takes for the fade to happen. And so I'm gonna go over to my color, and we're gonna drag down the opacity to 0. So now it as you can see, it created some keyframes, and so if we scroll this up and down, you can, well, you can't really see it that well, because actually what I'll do is I'll put this right here so we can see it better. There we go. And so if we move this down and up, we can see that it fades in and out, just like we want. And so I'm gonna move this down some more. For like another, I'd say 20 seconds. And I'm gonna just change this a little bit so it creates the keyframe, but I'm gonna change this back to 0. So now it stays at, so now the animation stays at 0. So it fades in, then it stays like that for 20 seconds. And then I'm gonna fade it back out again. So let's, for the same amount of time. So we faded it into for a minute and a half. So let's fade it out for a minute and a half. So 1 minute later is 250, and then half a minute later is 3 minutes. That's 10, 20. No, wait. A minute later is 250. 10, 20, 30. Okay. And then we're going to go to our color again and fade it back all the way back to black. Okay? And that's the end of our animation. And so let's watch our animation. Let's press play. Perfect. Animates exactly how we want it. Okay. And so now let's go back to our animator. I mean, you can see it fades in. And then we're gonna make a transition, and we're gonna put it to exit. So the transition is gonna go from entry to it's gonna start on the fade in, and then it's gonna go to exit. Okay, and that should do it. So let's test it out. Perfect. It fades in and it fades out, and it looks like it loops. So let's take a look at that. I have loop time disabled. So let's take off the transition. That should solve it. No, it's still looping. Let's delete this. Maybe that'll fix it. It's looping for some reason. No, that's not what I want. No, that's not gonna do it. Well, I'm gonna take a look at this for a while, because I can't seem to figure out why it's looping right now. So in the next video, I will take a look at once I can figure out why it's looping. I will fix it, and in the next video we'll work some more with menus. So yeah, this has been Mega, and I will see you again next time.